Coming up on the Santana Moss Show, the Redskins invade the Noya with their matchup on Monday Night Football with the New Orleans Saints.
Ooh, the Noya. And we're talking about Le'Veon Bell's greedy self again.
Oh, man, Earl Thomas just wanted to be down and went down as the Chiefs had something brewing with the Seahawks.
Something to talk about. You know something to talk about? The Bears.
Tennessee's Mariota has proven himself to be a winner these days.
Plus, Tana and I will talk about the schedule that is coming up in the NFL. Gamblers, you're not going to want to miss these picks.
We talking taking L's. I'm wondering if the old-timers are ready to pass the torch to these new kids on the blocks.
You know they ain't, man. Set it off on the left, y'all. Set it off on the right, y'all. Santana Moss Show podcast starts now. Ooh, ooh. Come on, come on. Ooh,
it's a Santana Moss Show. Number 89. Hustle all the time. Travis on the right. Hot mic on the left. Every single week, it's a lyrical fact.
Now I'm ready to go. Now I'm ready to go.
Go, baby.
Santana Moss Show podcast. Santana Moss in the building. Travis Thomas in the building. What's really good, Tana, man?
What's happening, brother?
Not much, man. What you been doing since the last show?
Oh, action-packed as always,
You've been
man.
busy bee, dog.
Tell me about it.
Good God.
You know, one of the things I like, and people ask me to this day, you know, now that I'm not a player anymore, you know, what did you do, Tana? What is it that you do? And I just tell them everything.
Everything. You a hustler.
Hustler, homie. Last week was an action-packed week for me. To start off, I had a visit to Children's National Hospital. Got a chance to visit with some kids in Ryan Seacrest Studios. These kids actually had a chance to, you know, ask me questions on air live. I love the whole format of the Ryan Seacrest Studios, but I got a chance to speak to about 5 or 6 panelists, you know, these kids on the panel, and then also every kid that couldn't come down because of how sick they were. You know, they got a chance to call in from their rooms and just ask me questions, man. It wasn't pertaining to football or anything like that. Just, you know, ask me anything that they had off the top of their head. One kid asked me if I had a choice of picking from unicorn or dinosaur, you know, what would I want to be? And
That's
I told
cool.
him, hey, you know, knowing who I was dealing with, unicorn. Right. I said unicorns are told to me from when I was growing up, you know, they was always around, you know, rainbows. And at the end of rainbows is part of gold. I like money. So I want to be around it. So it was just fun, man, to interact with the kids. Most of these kids was dealing with sickle cell, something that was, you know, dear to me. One of my nephews deal with that disease, and just knowing what he has to go through, you know, when I was called to be out there or to just participate in this little outing with him. Yes, let me share my time with him. Let me share my time. You know, I was actually educated a little bit more about sickle cell and about some of the ways that we can find cures for this disease. And what I didn't know coming into it, and what I found out by the time I left, is that a lot of the times it's all about blood. You know, so you always hear when they talk about sickle cell traits, it's about matching, you know, whether it's relatives or someone's blood to be able to solve some of these matters of the pain and some of the things that these kids go through. And what I was educated on is that a lot of the blood donors today is Caucasians, of the Caucasian race. And what we really need, because most of the kids with these diseases are blacks, are African Americans. And we need more of our own kind to donate blood. Never knew that. And I told one of the doctors there, I'm like, I have a nephew that goes in and out of the hospital, and I never heard once from my brother that, you know, it's up to us to find, you know, their match in blood, that we can, you know, donate some of this blood and try to find a cure to some of this. Because what I was told, that some of these situations are cured, but it's just so many of the cases that they're trying to get to. So beyond that, I could go on and on about it. It was a great experience. I enjoyed my time with the doctors and the kids. Thursday, I got a chance to it was actually Friday, I believe. It was Friday. I got a chance to visit Freedom High School in Woodbridge, Virginia, and I went to talk to a couple of kids. The young lady who I knew from 2001, I was a young pup, Miss Lawson. She's a school teacher there. When I met her, she was working with ESPN. They did a little thing with me, Michael Vick, and all us. We was getting ready for the draft. And it's crazy how social media allows you to keep in touch with folks. We somehow bumped into each other on social media, and she like, you know, I be god darn, you stay not too far from me. I'm in Virginia, you in Virginia. I've been watching your career, and now I'm seeing what you're doing off the field. I have a passion for these kids. I have a passion for, you know, motivating and pushing these kids to, you know, see what they want out of themselves and what their future could be if they just hear something or have someone in their life like me or yourself. Guess what? Sign me up. I want to be there. So I got a chance to go and visit the football team. Wow. They're pretty good. They're pretty dope. The kids did their thing that night. I forgot who they played, but I told her I'll be back because I want to get a chance to really, you know, sit and talk with the kids. Let them pick my brain about anything they have in mind. And she said, hey, we're going to do so. So just give them, you know, a heads up on when my schedule might free up or whatever. But like I told you before, man, my weeks are always action-packed, and I enjoy just giving my time and sharing my time with the people that need it the most.
Well, big ups to you for working with the kids, man, and Tana love the kids. I want to also big you up because this guy is so humble. He comes on the show, and he never really even mentions it to me, but I went back and I listened to the Hey Phrase podcast that you were on.
Did you?
Oh, my God. This is one of the best interviews I ever heard on earth ever. So shout-outs to Sarah Frey. She does a great job on that podcast. Shout-outs to producer AJ as well. And I follow her on social media, right? And she's got a lot of good content, too. So I want to big her up. Andrea Lopez Impressions is hilarious.
Or fire.
And Mexicana with a mic. She's a great follow. So big ups to that team over there. And that was a really good interview you did
Appreciate that, brother.
So look that up. All right, let's get to the Skins. Bye week, finito. Now we go to Nolens. We go to Nolens, take on the Saints. High-powered offense. Tana, I'm telling you right off the top. For me, it is literally the same game plan we had against the Packers. I realize that was a home game, so it's a little different. And, you know, that fast track in New Orleans is no joke. But I'm looking at this game and I'm thinking, okay, Adrian Peterson, this is his former team.
Yeah.
We saw what he did against the Cardinals when he has a little chip on his shoulder against a former team. So you know he's going to come in hungry. Yeah. I just feel like run the ball, keep Drew Brees on the sideline and Kamara and all those guys as long as you can. Win the time. Simple. Win the time of possession. Don't turn the ball over. You got a shot. Yeah. Keep it close. Fourth quarter comes. Alex Smith's a veteran. Makes a play here or there, you got a shot to win this thing, Tana.
Yeah. Just win the game, period. You know, one of the things that I look forward to this Monday night matchup is just Adrian Peterson coming to a team that once was his team. You know, this is the second team in this early season that he gets to, you know, address and say, hey, I was once in these locker rooms. I once shared, the field with these guys that's out here doing their thing on this side. I know from just being a veteran, that's something that's in Adrian's head, but I'm pretty sure he's probably not paying that much attention to. We talked about it earlier about, you know, what is the makeup of us players when it comes to facing our former teams. The thing that I did, I tried to downplay it. I wanted to downplay it because I didn't want the negativity. I'm a positive guy. I don't want to hear the whole hoopla about what you did while you was there, what you didn't do while you was there. Oh, this is the week you circle. A lot of other guys did it differently. Will Adrian Peterson approach the game that way? I think not. I think he's a veteran. He's a guy that self-motivated. A lot of things that pretty much probably fuel his fire. I don't think facing New Orleans would probably be one of those things. He do want to go out there and have a good performance because that's something that I think a guy like Adrian Peterson wants to do week in and week out. But I think when it comes into this game, Adrian, we have to see a heavy dose of Adrian. Yeah. Heavy dose of CT. Yep. If you think back to last year's performance. That's when he got hurt, isn't it? CT, no, he didn't get hurt that game, I don't believe. Did he? I
think Thompson got hurt against the Saints.
I'm not sure, but I know he played well against those guys. You know, one of the things that we didn't do is hold up on our end on the defense side of it and stop Drew Brees late in that game. So I just want to see these guys come out and play with some consistency. I want to see these guys, you know, just like last week, the week before the bye, come out, start fast, but be consistent throughout the game. You can't start fast and then dull off. You can't, have one of those, those fires when you're out there barbecue, how when you're cooking and that after those steaks go off, after you done used all that fuel, now you see those charcoal just smoking. No, we don't need a smoke. We need that flame to be we need to hold that flame for the entire game. So I want them to start fast, but hold on to it. Don't just find ways to say, okay, we're fat and happy when we get up a couple of scores or when we find a way to move the ball on these guys. Finish every time you have a chance. Every time we get in the red zone, we want points. Whether it's 3 or 6, you need points. And to me, that's the only way you can go out there and compete with a team like this. I do believe in the Saints offense. I love what I'm seeing from Drew Brees. I love what I'm seeing from their pass catchers. They're getting a guy like Ingram back. He's the guy that brings another dimension to their offense when it comes to the run game. So we have to be ready on the defensive side to make sure that we can corrupt all that stuff that they're going to bring to us. Make sure we find a way to say, hey, it's not going your way, this weekend. But if we can find a way to be consistent offensively, defensively, special team wise, then we can find ourselves victorious coming out of that game Monday night.
You mentioned the defense. That Saints offense is pick your poison. Do you get gashed by Kamara and now Ingram? Or, do you let Drew Brees be Drew Brees? If you're defensive coordinator for Skins this week, what's your game plan?
My game plan is to collapse the pocket. Collapse the pocket. One of the things that I watch when I watch Brees, he's a guy that's not that tall. So when you watch him a lot, he's always on his tippy toes looking over that line.
See over. Right.
You have to collapse that pocket. Make that pocket small as you can and make him do something that he's not known for doing, getting outside that pocket, being one of those guys on the run. Drew Brees can do that on the run, but that's not his game. His game is sitting in that pocket, dicing you up. And if we can collapse the pocket with our interior guys who, to me, has been playing lights out this year thus far this season, and allow those guys, Kerrigan and P. Smith have to come into play. This is the game we need these guys to wake up. This is the game where I want to see P. Smith back there, at least a couple of pressures, a sack or two. Kerrigan got to get back to form. I need to see Kerrigan being Kerrigan.
Yeah.
I want to see Kerrigan going out there getting the sacks that he's known of getting and just seeing these guys collapse the pocket. I think if you collapse the pocket, rush the quarterback enough and make him, put him in a hurry, make him uncomfortable, then our secondary could come up with some big takeaways. I'm loving what I'm seeing, early in this season from Dunbar. Dunbar is a young guy that, I was looking forward to seeing how he's going to play as a starter. He's proven that, in 3 games this season that he can be that guy. Fabian Monroe, what he did against Cobbs a couple of weeks ago, that was outstanding. But you know what? It's more to be done. You can't just, be high on that. And what you expect out of Swearinger. We haven't been talking about Norman that much. He is the guy in the secondary. I think sooner or later they're going to try him. And when you try him, I hope Norman make him pay. So I think if we collapse the pocket, stay around Brees, make sure we hurry him a lot. Then you get an uncomfortable Brees, and you don't allow him to sit back there comfortably and pick you apart.
All right, so we'll go rapid fire around the league. The Steelers lose to the Ravens, Tana. Now, here's the deal. It's not looking good in Pittsburgh. However, Le'Veon Bell says he'll be back to the team.
I'll be back.
Week 7-ish, week 8. So that's sooner than expected. They thought it would be week 10 for him to collect his money. So he's coming back a little sooner, but he's not coming back right now. Your thoughts?
No. Well, my thoughts on Le'Veon Bell is that, honestly, when you look at what's going on around the league and how guys are being treated, whether they're getting paid what's due or not, you sit there and you have a little sympathy for Le'Veon Bell. The only reason why, because here's a guy that's proven himself time and time again. 3 out of the 5 years that he's been a Steeler, I believe he played 5 seasons with them, he's rushed for over 1,200-something yards. All 3 of those seasons, he's carried the load for those guys and had over 400-something plus touches. So with that being said, the last 2 years alone, he did it back-to-back, 1,200 plus, 400-something plus in touches. So to me, he means a lot to your offense. With that load alone, he's due something. He's due the respect from the organization, and the respect when it comes to what he's allowed to be able to take home with him. I understand with franchising guys like that because at the end of the day, it's a business. And I understand you saying, hey, at the end of the day, we believe in you. That's why we're giving you top pay of what your position allows us to pay you. But guys need security. You need security in this league. And we saw that this past weekend with one of the guys going down who was looking for that same security. So I think Le'Veon Bell has been very smart and wise about how he's, approaching this season. Me personally, I don't know how he does it because I need to be around that environment. I need to be around my guys. I need to allow them to get me into that football shape. Yeah, we can do a lot of, by ourselves. I don't know how he does it. Le'Veon, I tip my hat off to him because he comes in shape. He does. He proven that last season. But he said, hey, I'm going to come in on the bye, week 7, and I'm going to miss or whatever game it is I'm going to miss. And then after the bye, I'm going to play, and I'm going to give myself those 10 games because this is going to allow me to take less on my body, less abuse on my body, and allow me to say, okay, I got 10 games now to prove to you guys that I'm worthy enough of what I'm seeking. And like I said before, as a former player, never to have to be in this situation and have to be dealt this blow, I am with him. I stand by him because I know that this game would take a lot from you. And if you don't put a stance or have a stance and say, hey, this is what I need, this is what I want, then you could be one of those guys that a year or two from now we can not be talking about you because you're no longer on the team because of what a team done you and how they did you, and now you're out the door.
The Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes continue to win. He really just makes a lot of gutty plays. They beat the Broncos on Monday Night Football. But come to find out, the Chiefs were this close to trading for Earl Thomas, safety for the Seahawks, but Earl Thomas gets hurt, flips everyone to bird, getting carted off the field, Tana.
Yeah, one of the things you want to talk about with the Chiefs is the lights-out performance by this young kid, Patrick Mahomes. You sit there and you say, man, what more could he not do? He found a way to get the victory that he did Monday night. He's been getting those victories left and right throughout the whole season thus far. The Chiefs' defense isn't the same. So they're saying, hey, we have to address something. We have to address the issue that we have the most. The Chiefs have one of the best safeties in the game, and he hasn't been playing. He's been down for some odd reason. But they say, hey, we're our recipe to greatness is finding another guy that can be back here and be our quarterback to this defense. And they was working on bringing in Earl Thomas.
Yeah.
What we just talked about and spoke on about why Le'Veon Bell's approach to this season is the reason why he's approaching this season is what Earl Thomas has now had to take a back seat to. He's a guy that wanted the same approach. He's a guy that was in the same setting and saying that, hey, here I am. I want more. I want a contract. And if I can't have a contract, trade me somewhere who's going to see that I have that opportunity to seek that deal. And he swallowed his pride. He came in and said, I'm going to be a team player. Even though I missed the whole entire training camp, I'm going to be a team player because that's what is put on us guys when we take this stance. Oh, you're not a team player. Oh, you think about yourself. Yeah, I'm thinking about myself because at the end of the day, who's going to pay my bills?
Hell yeah.
The team doesn't pay my bills. Yeah, you give me the money that's due to me, but these other guys don't pay my bills. So I have to think about myself at times. And I hate the notion they give these guys when it comes down to making a stance for what they truly believe in. So Earl Thomas put all that to the side and say, I'm going to go out here and play football. I'm going to go out here and play the football the way I know how to play. Now, think about it. I don't have no more chance. I don't have no Legion of Boom around me no more. I don't have Sherman, all these guys. But I'm gonna go out here and still make the plays that I know that Earl Thomas can make, and he's done that. He's did that up until this last week, and then now he's put on the table with a broken fibula. And where's that contract going to be?
No doubt.
Where's that contract going to be given? When is it going to be given? Now, one of the things I would say, because I want to use Earl Thomas segment in a different segment, because I feel like truthfully, he's taken the L. Taking the L because of, what he's been dealt. But I'm not going to use it for my L's. But I can say that with the body of work that he displayed throughout his career, and even early this season, Earl Thomas is a guy, when he gets healthy, a team will be sitting there waiting for Earl Thomas because there's a lot of difference makers out there. It's none like Earl Thomas, and he can be one of those guys for somebody's defense to be a difference maker. So I want to tell Earl Thomas, I'm not sure if he listens or anybody who's listening that knows Earl and their family members or fans, let him know that, over here on the Santana Moss Show, we had his back, and we understand his pain, and we understand that little gesture that he gave to the sideline, it was just a gesture of frustration.
Hey, Earl, this is what we used to do in elementary school. You need to practice this. We used to go like this, and we used to stay, read between the lines. You know what that means, Earl, right? It's mean this, but you do this, you don't get fined for that, brother. All right, Tan, I want to ask you this. The Bears look for real, man. Mitch Trubisky. I mean, my God, he threw 6 touchdowns, and you got Khalil Mack on the other side just smacking people's heads off and not getting flagged for it. How about that? Are the Bears for real?
I think the Bears for real. I think one of the things that I want to speak about the Bears is that a year ago, a friend of mine, we talk football every morning. It's almost like I got a show outside the show. Me and one of my homeboys, we get on the mic, man, little bub, and it was another homeboy of mine that I talked this same talk with, and he stays up here with me, Bo. We had these same discussions, but Bo works full time, and I can never get on the phone with him and talk football. But that was something that got me through college, got me through my first years in the pros, and even as I went on through my career, Bo was always near and dear that we can talk football. Now it's Lil Bub. Lil Bub is the encyclopedia for anything you want to know about sports, period. He's a guy that you can tap in and out, ask him a question about anybody, and when it comes to basketball, football, and maybe even baseball, and he'll give you what you need. And he's a guy that I call on more and more now that we talk about different players, talk about different teams. And Trubisky is one of the guys I spoke on last year. I told him, I said, hey, man, you see that Bears quarterback? That's somebody that can scramble outside the pocket and has an arm. You don't find too many guys that can do both. We see it in Patrick Mahomes. We see it in a lot of other guys around the league. You have guys like even guy like Smith. He can do it. Not too many guys back. I think back to those years when I was a San Fran fan. Steve Young was one of those guys that I was one of the biggest fans because he took over for Montana and who I was a big fan of. So to see him do the way he did it through so many years, Trubisky, he now is the franchise guy for this new Bears look. And I said it last year. I said, man, they have something in that guy.
Yeah.
You know, how many games they're going to win, I don't know. But here we are, 2018, and surprisingly, a Khalil Mack falls into these guys' lap. Khalil Mack is no other the LeBron James of football. He make this whole entire team look apart. He makes the defense alone look like the worst defense to face right now in the NFL. And it's early in the season right now, and this is his numbers: 17 tackles, 5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 1 INT.
Jeez.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, and this was all without even having a team the whole entire training camp. So, you know, Khalil Mack alone, we give credit to Trubisky and the 6 TDs that he just passed for this last weekend. Never been a Bear to do so in the Super Bowl era. But you have to also give credit to Matt Nagy. He's a guy that came from, Kansas City Chiefs. He has these guys playing on a different level. But I think defense wins championships. So if you have a Trubisky going out there playing lights out, doing what he's doing, you have a Khalil Mack doing what he's doing on defense, you have the right recipe to be a contender in this league to have your chance at winning that championship.
I'm going to tell you like this. They mess around and get in the playoffs. That's the kind of team no one wants to play. Trouble. By the way, Lil Bub, I know you watch the podcast. Holler at your boy. You know I bet these games. I need some consultation. And if I hit these bets due to your consultation, there could be a small commission.
He's your guy.
You know what I'm saying?
He's your guy.
All right, Tana, Marcus Mariota, Corey Davis look real. The Titans are in first place. What's going on with Tennessee?
I think Tennessee has been one of those teams that we're surprised about this year. You know, when it comes to the quarterback position, I'm one of those things about the quarterback position. I get that, And Mariota's one of those quarterbacks that I really didn't know what his makeup was going to be in this league. I didn't know if he was going to be a guy that you can say, he's just a guy that can escape the pocket. He's another, Kaepernick. He's another Griffin III. He's another, he's one of those Russell guys. Russell seems to be one of those guys that he can do both. You know, he can escape the pocket. He can be a threat with his legs and also kill you in the pocket if he have to. But Mariota has shown us time and time again he's just a football player.
No doubt about it.
He's a guy that regardless of what he faces right now, he's dealing with nerve damage in some of his fingers that he got an injury in his elbow, and in some of his fingers he barely can feel. And you see this guy, been put out there time and time again to say, hey, make a play. Find a way to make a play and give us a chance to win. And he's done that. And he's shown that. And with a young coach, with a young head coach, Vrabel getting his first shot at being a head coach. He's been an assistant for the last few years, and he has the winning pedigree in him. I think certain guys are due the opportunity to coach other guys because when you come from a winning background, being a Patriot for for so long, then going over to the Texans and being an assistant behind some great coaches. He just know the formula to go out there and win. I think they have a good thing going on with Mariota and that coach.
Tennessee. Hey, Tanner, real quick, let's look ahead to the schedule. What game jumps out at you? For me, look, man, Colts at the Patriots on Thursday night. That's a big game because you don't know what you're getting week to week with the Patriots. Seems like one week they look like the Patriots. Then the next week you're like, who the hell is this team? Brady has no weapons. What are they doing? The defense has holes. And I got to tell you, watching him this season, Andrew Luck is back, bro. They don't have the wins per se, but he is back. He is not the reason that team's not winning. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's a heavyweight fight. Andrew Luck in one corner, Tom Brady in the other. Let's get ready to rumble! What's the game for you?
I think the game for me will stand out the most would be the 4:25 p.m. game, Eastern time. That's the Vikings versus the Eagles.
Oh, in Philly.
The Vikings versus the Eagles stand out the most to me because you look at a Philly team coming off a loss, have Wentz back, and people are surprised to even see Wentz on the other side of a loss.
Right.
They like, Carson, we're not used to talking to you about L's right now, about losses. And just to see those guys come back down to size, being the champs, being that it's so much expected out of them, knowing that Carson has found his way back to being a healthy quarterback in this league and looking like his old self. We wasn't expecting that loss last week. But like I said, they fought a hard-fought team in Tennessee who has a great coach and quarterback at the helm of that. The reason why this game stands out the most to me is because the Vikings have been known for their defense. They say all we have to do is correct our quarterback situation. They did that. They went out there and paid a person that we know, so closely and so familiar with in Kirk Cousins that said, we're going to pay you top dollar. We're going to pay you something that no one has ever got. Guaranteed money. 80 million. I'm about to say 80,000, boy. I'm showing you about a whole lot of M's.
I take 80,000 right about now,
I'm showing you about a whole lot of M's. But no, $80 million all guaranteed. And to tell you the truth, Kirk hasn't been he's not been a letdown this far.
No,
he's been
his
a guy. His
numbers are there.
His numbers are there, and that's something that we saw as a Redskins.
Same thing.
And everyone wants to say, hey, he doesn't win games. He only can do so much. So just knowing that this game is going to be one of those games that the Vikings not doing so well right now. What they are, 1-2-1, something like that. And I believe that if they come to Philly and lose, this can be something that they write off the whole entire organization. Well, you went out here and paid this money to Kirk Cousins.
Right.
He's not the guy.
That's when you start questioning.
Has failed. They're not doing the job. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing what this matchup is going to be.
I am too. I wish it was the Sunday night game because who gives a damn about the punk-ass Cowboys in Houston? Who wants to watch that? I mean, I like Deshaun Watson, but who cares about the Cowboys? That should be at 4 o'clock. The Eagles-Vikings should be the night game, but I digress. All right, let's go to taking L's, Tana. For me, my man, I got to tell you, it's every NFL passing all-time record ever because all these are about to get shattered. Yeah. I love Marino. I love Favre. I love Montana. You mentioned Steve Young. I love him too. All these records are about to get dealt with because of how the rules are now, right? And these guys, these young quarterbacks are putting up, I mean, it's unreal, man. They're putting up Madden numbers. Like, this is video game numbers.
Yeah. Well, taking nails, it's something that we like to dive into deep, and I truly believe you, man. I'm listening last night, and they talking about, this guy Patrick Mahomes. He went 10 for 15 outside the pocket, never been done before on one drive, and I'm like, what? What is this? All these numbers that they're just coming up with. So if you think about the past, you think about the quarterbacks of the, those heydays when football was played a little differently. The numbers they put up. They're going to be shattered. They're going to be shattered.
Yes.
That's something that me and Oscar talked about earlier. One of the things that I can say for just even talking about the quarterbacks, I'm looking at the receiver numbers. When I got into this league, I remember asking an old vet, old-time guy, JJ. JJ was known back in those days with Winslow and those boys. He was one of the receivers with the goggles back then. If you ever paid attention to the Chargers back in those days when Winslow played, look at that man, JJ. JJ was one of those guys. He also played with the Redskins, but he was a player personnel guy for the Redskins. I say, man, what it takes to be a Hall of Famer as a receiver? JJ, and he told me, he gave me that little giggle that he gave me. He said, well, Tanner, 10,000 plus yards, man, then you can be talked in that discussion with those guys. And I'm sitting there as a young pup, I'm saying to myself, I never like to put numbers on myself or something to really go after, because I felt like you was really shortchanging yourself from what you really can have. Just go out there and play the game. Be prepared for whatever. And when I'm looking at these numbers from the quarterbacks, you got to think about these numbers from the receivers.
Hell yeah,
These
bro.
receivers now with the 20 attempts a plus a game, it's unheard of. It took me a whole quarter of football. When I say quarter, I'm talking about 4 weeks to get 20 attempts at times. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was happy to leave games with 4 or 5 attempts.
Yeah.
And so now you see guys like the ABs of the game,
Beckham.
Beckham's, those guys are getting the Julios, those
Hopkins.
guys are getting those attempts in single games. So just imagine what their number's going to be. We talk about the quarterbacks. The quarterbacks are being protected in such a form and fashion now that the receivers have no choice but to be stars. They have no choice because the opportunity is going to be given. One of the things I've always said as a receiver, as a football player, period, opportunity. If you give me the opportunity, I have no choice but to stand up and be the guy that I can be. And that's all I ever asked for. I never said that I need this, I need that. They always ask me questions about, hey, you got divas over here, you got divas over there. Why are you not a diva? I don't want to be a diva. I want an opportunity. You give me the opportunity to go out there and showcase my talent and be the guy that I can be, then we'll have nothing coming out of my mouth sideways. So you see these guys, man, I do believe what you just stated, that, when it comes to all these guys before the era of now, the way football has been played now, taking some large L's, man.
No doubt.
And I dropped my pen on that one because I had to. I had to show 2 L's.
Hey, he might drop the pen, but he never fumbled that ball, though. You better believe that. Santana Moss Show podcast, it's a wrap. Please stare at the gold on my boy. He got gold foil on his hat. He got a gold chain on his neck. Gold everything.
Everywhere.
Don't believe me? Just watch. Go get this podcast. It's everywhere great podcasts are available, and we out this thing. Santana Moss Show podcast. Deuces.
Or fire.
It's your Santana Moss Show. Number 89, hustle all the time. Travis on the right, hot mic on the left. Every single week, it's a lyrical fact.
Come on. Ooh.
All right.
I'm a goddamn fool.
Yes, you are. My brother.
You got to give the people what they want.
Brother, I'm scared.